we're learning with the Baal Shem Tov, and is teaching us how to daven. But of course, it's connected to many other things also, because whatever we do is a question of kavanah. You have to have always kavanah. That's the most important thing we have to remember all the time. That's the main emphasis of the Baal Shem Tov. Always to have the right kavanah. If you don't have the right kavanah, it's like, a body without a neshama. Now, this is very important because it involves everything in Judaism. Everything in Judaism. You have to have deeds. Important to have deeds. You must do things. But the deeds have to be packed with quality. A deed without thought, without a machshava, is empty. And it has very little impact. Very little impact. Now, during this period of the year, Sfiras Omer, that's also very important. Why? Because we have to realize that history repeats itself, and there's a cycle going on all the time, repetition, and we are reliving, in a sense, the period of Mitzrayim to Har Sinai, right now. In Mitzrayim, Klal Yisrael was in very, very deep galus, a very deep exile, and the main exile was not physical. The main exile in Mitzrayim was not physical, it was spiritual. The Baal Shem Tov describes it as saying they were chaser da'as. There was missing in them an awareness, a natural awareness of the truth. They became surrounded by people who were Oved Avodah Zarah, and they also were drawn to that. Imagine the Jews in Mitzrayim with their Shreimlach, with their Gartlach, and their long bekishes were Oved Avodah Zarah, and they stopped doing bris milah. Imagine that. Men did not circumcise themselves or their children. It stopped. Because that's the way the culture was. So, even in,
Yosef had bris milah. And it was compared to the bris milah of the Goyim, of the Mitzim, who did not have prayer. So why didn't have, nevertheless?
You're asking why? But this is what we're told. Before they left Mitzrayim, remember they had to bring the Korban Pesach, and they had to do bris milah in order to be able to eat from the Korban Pesach.
Yes.
So there was massive bris milah in that small time, and by some miracle, they all healed. They were able to travel out. I mean, there are so many other miracles that quick healing is not such a big miracle anymore. But anyway, this is what happened. So they were missing this awareness, and because of this missing awareness, they didn't feel inwardly that Jewish spirit in them, even though outwardly they looked like, they didn't change their language, their names, their dress, they looked very Jewish. But inwardly they were corrupted. What can I tell you? That's the...
Incomplete.
Immature is the better word. Immature Jews.
Was this the 20% that came out?
No, 20%, well, the 20% that came out were the ones that became aware and wanted to leave, and they had strong emunah and bitachon and Hashem. The other ones, they just decided that, why take a chance? We know what we have here, let's stay here.
They stayed even as conditions were getting worse.
Well, in the last 6 months, the slavery stopped. The slavery stopped, yes.
It was getting better.
The slavery stopped.
During the Makot.
Never heard
During
of
the, and after the Makot too, it's slavery stuff. Before the Makot, maybe even before. And there was a 6-month period that there was no Makot. And people forget very easily, have short memories. All of a sudden, now it's great, so let's let go. Maybe it'll continue to be great. Anyway, that was then. But we're living now. You should know we're in the same madrega, the same idea that went on then. It's the exact same thing. You think we're not in Golos today? You think we're not in Golos?
Yeah.
We got the Streimloch, we got the Gartloch, we got the Rabbi, everything. Still in Golos. We're still in Golos. There are people today are still in Golos, living in Eretz Israel with their Streimloch, with the Kapotes, whatever. They're still in Golos. Why am I saying that? I'm not being Makatre. Chalil v'chas. My entire talk is only to wake us up. I'm not here to put anybody down or to prosecute or to ridicule or to criticize. That's not my point. That's not the way a Jew's supposed to think or talk or do anything. We're supposed to always try to improve. But we have to become aware. What is the ongoing mode of thought today, all over the world, that has penetrated Eretz Israel as well? The ongoing mode of thought, the motivating principle that moves everything today is one thing. What's in it for me? In Hebrew they say, "Medaber elai." Don't medaber elai. I have no interest. No interest. Don't medaber elai. It doesn't talk to me. It is corrupting everything. Corrupting everything. In order to do something lishma, as the Torah wants us, like the Shem Tov tells us, to do things lishma, to do things for the proper reasons without looking for ulterior motives, you cannot think that way. You cannot think, what's in it for me? You cannot think of it. You have to think of what does Hashem want? What does Hashem want? Not what I want. What does Hashem want me to do? Such a simple thing. Such a simple thing. But to live it, that's the problem. To live it. Easy to say it. But to live it. I want to do everything that Hashem wants. That's all. Nothing more. To live that way, that would take you out of Golos.
ונתתי מטר ארצכם.
Hmm?
ונתתי מטר ארצכם.
ואין?
ונתתי מטר ארצכם. If you do what I say, I will give you. You say Shema.
Now, we're in this period now. We have every single night accounting. What are we counting? What are we counting for? What are we supposed to be thinking? What are we counting for?
Prove ourselves.
Huh?
Prove ourselves.
Well, what does the counting do? Count, the count. It's just something. Okay, Hayom set la Omer. Hayom Baruch. Hayom Yom Omer. Tomorrow, next day Omer.
Very little skill in the middle.
The midos, all the different traits.
Yes, but that
We're counting.
you're saying it, but who does it?
We're counting to bring a new emotion into the world.
We have to remember one thing.
Counting to change ourselves.
We have to remember one thing. The fact that we got out of Mitzrayim was a pure matana. We were not deserving to be taken out of that matzav. We were very, very steeped into the exile, into the Egyptian culture. Inside we had lost it. We lost it. We stopped doing bris milah, remember? Stop doing bris milah. Shem's not interested in the way you look. Al tistaka b'kadchan. You look like a Jew, but do you think like a Jew? Do you feel like a Jew? That's what Hashem wants to know. What are the ideas coming out of you? Not the language. It's very important, the language. You can't put aside the language. Lashon HaKodesh is very important. They kept their language in Mitzrayim. But what were they saying with the Lashon HaKodesh? They were saying that stop doing bris milah. Nobody else is doing it, so we'll stop. You can say that in the Lashon HaKodesh also. What's the point? What's the point? So we have to remember also, if we want to really be able to receive the Torah on Shavuos, or the energies that are available, that are released by Shemayim, as they are every single year, we have to be ready for it. For most people, they count, Shavuos comes and it goes. That's it. So another year Shavuos. I've seen it before. I've been there. Next year another Shavuos. What happened? Did anything happen to you? Did anything happen to you? Are you in any way changed because of Matan Torah on Leil Shavuos? Are you in any way changed by it? How can you possibly be changed if you're just counting every single day like a machine? You know, everybody else does it, so I do it also. Oh, very important. I don't want to miss the bracha. Not to miss the bracha. Chalil v'chas, not to miss the bracha. Make sure not to miss the bracha. You should know, the bracha and the counting has nothing to do with me, or you, or you. The bracha and the counting has to do with the sviros in Shemayim. That's all. Has nothing to do with you or me. What has to do with you or me is, I'm supposed to take from those spheros the ideas attached to those spheros and work on them. Everybody please take a page. Please take a page. Take it with you. We'll talk about this. Take a page and pass it down. Here.
Thank you. Yeah.
Ralph,
Yes.
I heard a teaching that this counting is connected with Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Gvura, Pered, and all that. That's why we...
Nothing to do with you or me.
Yeah.
It has to do with all kinds of ideas. Olamot, Chalyonim.
But isn't the purpose of the counting to purify ourselves, to clean the kippot?
That's not going to do it. The counting is not going to purify anything.
Because when Chesed is Abraham, they teach us. Chesed is Abraham, I see. So that's why we say Chesed b'Chesed and Gvura b'Chesed and all that.
It won't help you at all just to say the words.
Yeah. No, but and I have even a stronger question now. How this Abraham, Yitzchak, and all these 7 personalities are connected with Sukkot? We have those Bishim in the Sukkot.
It's all concepts. Concepts, that's all it is. It's all concepts. All concepts. You need a pen? Somebody need a pen? I have an extra pen. Somebody needs a pen? I have an extra pen.
Rabbi, why do you have so many pens?
It's good. Well, each one has a different function. I use one pen for one thing. I have 4 pens. So listen. The idea is the following. Look, you know, they asked in America there's a saying that goes around. You know, religion is something very personal. It's a very, very liberal, democratic kind of a statement. It's very personal. It means, don't tell me what to do. I have my relationship with God. You have yours. I have my personal way that I can. You have your personal way. Let's not get involved with each other. Let's everyone mind their own business. There's a lot of truth to that. There's also a lot of corruption in that. It's a way out of, not listening to anybody else if they have something to say that could help you. You can say, well, listen, you do it your way, I do it my way. Don't tell me what to do. There's democracy. We're just one point. The Rabbi of Kotsk, when he was told the story, when he was 4 years old, he was a smart little boy. And someone, as a joke, asked him, where's God? Who is God? In Yiddish, who is God? You know what he answered? He said, Avu melestem arayin.
Will you let him in?
We ever let him in. Meaning to say what? God's all over. God's all over. But if the door's closed, he's not going to come in. You got to open the door. You open the door. So true, you open your door, Hashem is personal to you. You open your door, Hashem is personal to you. But you don't open the door, He's not coming in. And how do you open the door? How do you open the door? You open the door by working on yourself, showing that you have a need, showing you a want. You want to come closer, you want to be better, and not only do you say it, but you actually do it. If you don't do it, it's just lip service, and you're fooling yourself. So here we have, I gave you this list here. These are 7 levels that you can work on, and we'll just talk about each one very, very briefly. Very, very briefly. And the first week was Chesed. There are 7 levels, there are 7 weeks. Every week there's another topic that you're supposed to be working on. Every week. And each week has 7 within that one topic. So in Chesed there are 7 levels, in Gvura there are 7 levels, Tiferes there are 7 levels. We're in the 3rd week now. The 3rd week of Tiferes. We'll talk about that. What happened in the past happened. Let's talk about Tiferes. So you write down these things, you'll remember what you're supposed to be doing in general this week. And you'll know for the following weeks as well. Tiferes, I only wrote down one word here because it's very, very short, and I didn't have the time to write down all of the things that we're going to say. But the word Tiferes itself means glory. Now what does that mean, glory? It's just a very beautiful word, something which is glorified, which is gloriful. What does it mean, glory? Glory means something like you have many, many, many colors, many, many instruments, and it's very, very colorful together, and it gives off a wonderful aura. Something which is glorious gives off a wonderful aura. So during the week of Tiferes, which is this week from Yom Rishon until Shabbos, we're supposed to be giving off something which is very, very pleasant. So every person has to try to have a smile on his face when he sees other people, and even if you have to force it. When you see people in the street, force yourself to smile to them, and your neshama will give them light. That's part of Tiferes, to give over a wonderful aura, to give light, to give a good feeling to other people. That's Tiferes. Now there's more that's connected to Tiferes. Tiferes is also connected to the Torah. The sun is connected to Tiferes, and the sun is beautiful, it's so bright, and it's always shining and giving off warmth and energy, electricity. All these things are coming from the sun. That's how you have to be. You have to electrify other people, arouse other people. How are you doing it? In a glorious way, not in a very, very fierce way, but it's supposed to be a way of enjoyment. That people enjoy your company. You're smiling, you have something nice to say to them. Maybe even a little joke to make them happy, but not joking for the purpose of joking per se. That's considered leitzanus. But to make a person happy, then the joke is a mitzvah. Then the joke is a mitzvah, yes?
Tiferet, I've been studying Tiferet for a long time, also means compassion and mercy. Mercy. And it's a combination of...
Yeah, but all right, so good. To be merciful to others is also good. Yeah, fine. Also to be merciful to others.
Tiferet must go to the others. External.
The kid, yeah. Tiferes is also connected to Torah. Yaakov Avinu was compared to Tiferes, and Yaakov is Ohev Yoshev Ohalim. Yaakov is a person who learns Torah. So take the Torah and share it with others. Say a little Dvar Torah to somebody else. Instill them with Kedusha, with something which is pleasant, a nice word to say over to somebody. That's also Tiferes. And with each, and do it in such a way that you're not expecting anything in return. You're doing it only for them. The sun doesn't expect anything back from us. Sun just shines constantly and not expecting any return whatsoever. Nothing. Just to give over to something, to give. That's Tiferes. That's what we're supposed to be working on this week. That's real glory. To give over to others, whether it's Torah, whether it's a nice compliment, a smile to somebody, a joke to make somebody happy, that's all part of Tiferes. This you work on all week long. All week long, work on those few things, and you are coming closer to be able to receive the Torah on Leil Shavuos.
Right?
Yes.
How would you differentiate between Chesed and Tiferet? Because a lot of what you're talking about sounds like kindness.
Well, of course it is. But kindness means that there's no limits. Kindness itself means it's unlimited. You don't have anything which stops you and tells you to stop. You keep on going and going and going and going. Chesed by itself means constantly giving without any, I would say, hitches, without any boundaries. Tiferes it does give you a boundary. You have to be balanced. In Tiferes you have to be balanced. Huh?
Gavor is a form of giving also.
Well, that you take part of the balancing comes because you're using Gavur in it. But Tiferes means you are balanced in such a way. You don't just go overboard and don't think, but no. Tiferes means it has to be measured. It has to be measured. Mercy is measured. It's Chesed and Gvur together. Chesed and Gvur together. So that's Tiferes. Okay. The next week.
That's very nice.
The next week is Netzach. Now, this is a very important one also because Netzach is connected to the word victory. You know, Nitzachon means victory. And where did that come into our lives?
Yitzhara.
Huh?
Yitzhara.
Of course, very good. The main victory is not to be victorious over somebody else, to be ahead of somebody else, and to be smarter than somebody else, and stronger than somebody else. No. Is to be victorious over your Yetzirah. That's the real victory. Real victory is to be victorious over your evil inclinations.
Jihad.
Huh?
Jihad.
Jihad?
What does jihad mean?
Jihad is
Victory to
what
win?
they mean,
Yeah,
our cousins,
yeah.
Your cousins.
against themselves, but they transformed it against us.
Okay.
It also means determination and perseverance.
Well, you need that to be victorious.
In Netzach, yes.
You have to need that. You need the perseverance. You have to correct. And that's why the next word I have there is everlastingness. It has to be something which is going to be done for permanence, not something which is temporary. So that's next week. We're not up to that now. That's next week. We're just talking about it now because I don't know if we'll talk about it next week or not. But let's get it done now. Next week is to do something that will have permanence. If I want to be victorious over myself, I want to do it in such a way that it will last. And I should not think I'm only doing it temporarily and I'm going to change after this period stops.
Like breaking a bad habit or something.
Exactly. Like people, let's say, for smoking, will say, well, okay, for a month I'm going to hold myself back and I'm not going to smoke. But after the month's over, oh boy. I control myself for a month and then I'm going to go all out. After the month's over, no bounds.
It's amazing, Rob. You make such a musar shmuz with so much smile and all that. It's amazing. You convince people to go into it.
When you do something, you're victorious, you have to do it with an everlastingness that you know this is it. From now on, it's going to be different.
Otherwise you can't have victory.
That's the kind of victory you should be talking about. A nitzachon over the evil inclinations that we have. This is the time to put all the energies into that. Victorious. Okay. The week afterwards, we have Hod. The Hod is, I wrote down here, gratefulness. It comes to the word Hoda'ah, to be grateful. Now this you have to understand, this Indian of being grateful is probably one of the most important fundamental concepts that we have as human beings, not only Jews, as human beings.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. I once was in a Talmud Torah. I had to speak in a school to the staff and to all the students that they all gathered together, a big kenes, the rabbi is coming to speak. I asked them a question that they never heard before in their life. Orthodox, Haredi Talmud Torah. I said to them, what's more important? To be a mensch or to be a good Jew?
Be a mensch.
Ish Hasid be first an ish.
Be a mensch or be a good Jew?
Isn't
Be a
it
mensch.
one in each other?
Huh?
Isn't it like one in each other?
Well, let's say you have to choose.
Be a mensch.
Let's say you have to
You're
choose.
gonna be a mensch.
How do you be a good Jew without being a mensch?
Well, I said to them like this, and all these, the teachers, the principals are all looking at me. What does he want? What is he trying to do here? I said to him, when you wake up in the morning, if you had to be a good Jew, that's the most important thing to be a good Jew. Wash your hands. The first thing you should say is Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. No. That's not being a good Jew.
I say
Being a good Jew, Jewish, only Jews say Shema
That
Yisrael.
expresses gratitude.
Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad has nothing to do with gratitude. No, it's a statement of awareness. It's a statement of awareness. God is one. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, our God is one God. I'm making that statement. I have Amunah. I believe in it. That's Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Is what? That's a good Jew. Goyim don't have to say Shema Yisrael. Only we say Shema Yisrael. But the custom in Klal Yisrael is not to say Shema Yisrael the first thing in the morning.
No.
It's what I say.
Modani.
Yes, Modani. Yes.
First thing to say is Modani. What is Modani saying?
Gratitude.
Gratitude. The first thing is you have to be grateful that you woke up. That's being a mensch, expressing simple gratitude. Simple gratitude. Before you're a Jew, you have to be a mensch. The Torah was given to people who are a mensch. Then you can become a good Jew. You have to first be a mensch. Even animals, animals are also grateful. If you're good to animals, they are grateful to you. They're grateful to you. They don't forget. They do not forget. You help an animal that's in bad shape, he's sick, whatever it is, you save an animal, he will never forget it.
The dog could be your best friend.
Isn't gratitude the new emotion that Torah brings into the world? I don't think it existed before.
The Torah is everything. The Torah takes in everything. There's nothing mixed in with it. Of course, gratitude is a part of the Torah. But there's a certain human derech eretz that everybody should have even before he got the Torah. Ain't Torah, ain't derech eretz. Ain't derech eretz, ain't Torah. They go together. Derech eretz means to be a mensch, to have simple, I would say, midos, which are human and respectful and honor the human being that you are.
Excuse me, I don't agree that, that derech eretz and Hod are the same thing.
Not the same, no, no, I'm saying if you have derech eretz, you will be grateful. If you have the basic menschlichkeit, you're a mensch, so that's what I'm saying. Hod is very important. It's the fundamental of being what a Jew is. You have to be grateful. You always should be looking at what you have to be grateful for. There's always something to complain about. The world is imperfect. There's no perfection in the world. Forget about it. Forget about it. Even if Mashiach comes, it's going to take time till we reach perfection. I mean, a lot of work has to be done here. The Rambam says a very interesting thing. Very interesting thing the Rambam says. We all know, we'll be taught, before Mashiach comes, Eliyahu is supposed to come a day earlier to inform us. Hine anochi sho'er lachem es Eliyahu hanavi lifnei yom Hashem. Lifnei, one day, between Yom HaGadol HaNorah And they tell, Mashiach's coming tomorrow. So he can't come Erev Shabbos because we can't put no time. Who has time? You have a busy praying for Shabbos. Only certain times he can come.
The buses don't want.
Yeah. But the Rambam says a very interesting thing.
He's a donkey.
The Rambam says a very interesting thing in the Parish of Mishnayos, in the Seches Idios, the last Mishnah, I think it's the 7th parak, the Rambam talks about where that Mishnah is written. The Rambam says we have a Kabbalah that before Mashiach comes, Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come. Listen to the words: Liyasher et haaretz. Liyasher means to straighten out the world.
Brit Alev.
Huh?
Is this meant the Brit Alev?
The Brit?
Halev.
No, he doesn't say anything. He just liyasher et haaretz. He said before Mashiach comes, Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come liyasher et haaretz. Not Brit Alev. That could be included. What does that mean? That doesn't mean he's going to give us the information that tomorrow Mashiach is coming. That's something else.
Prepare the land for it.
You think Mashiach could just come like that? That's it? If he would come today, let me ask you a question. Look at the world today. Mashiach would come today. What would happen?
It goes back.
He would want to stay for 1 minute.
Yeah.
No one would appreciate him. What are you talking about? Who said you're Mashiach? What do you mean, who's a Mashiach?
How do we know?
And then even if you are Mashiach, take it easy, it takes time. It takes time. I'm not going to change overnight.
So he might not be my Mashiach.
Whatever, right? So the Rambam says, Mashiach Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come liyasher et haaretz. That means the Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come way before the real coming. To prepare the stage. Mashiach has to come when everyone is ready to appreciate Mashiach and to work with him. That's his job. To perfect us. It's going to take time. Then after we reach a certain degree of preparation, then Eliyahu will come to the Bezdin, whoever there is, and say, okay, that's it. Tomorrow he's coming. But beforehand, Eliyahu has a lot of work to do here. How much yatris is there in the world today? How many people today can you testify to say, oh, that person is straight as a ruler. I would trust him with my soul. I would trust him with $1 million. No problems. He's straight as a ruler. How many people could you say on that? He's given $1 million.
And the point is not the person, the point is us.
We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do.
That's why we count the Omer.
Oh, so that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. We are supposed to be preparing ourselves so that when this wonderful, lofty time, Kabbalah Torah comes on Leil Shavuos, we're ready. Just like Mashiach, it has to come only when things are ready. So Kabbalah Torah is also only to come to people who are ready. If you're not ready, it's another day in the year. Pass by. Good. I don't go to work. I go to shul. We have say Hallel, nice nigunim, have a Yotif Tikka meal. Tomorrow is the same thing as it was the day before.
Eat some cheesecake.
So we should say we want Eliyahu now, not we want Mashiach now.
Okay, I agree. I agree. I'll tell you something.
That's a thing.
Since last year, like Omer, I've been working on a plan. To help Eliyahu Hanavi miyasher et haaretz. It can be done. It can be done. I've spoken to people, professionals. It can be done. Now, what do I mean it can be done? I'm not Eliyahu Hanavi. Not by a long shot.
Not your knowledge.
Nowhere near that. However, there is nobody today who has the power and the impact to be able to do that, to straighten out the world. All the corruption all over the world. Nobody today can do it. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, Olav Shalom, Zecher Tzaddik V'Kodesh L'Vracha, the God Lador. He wasn't able to do it either. He didn't do it. Because you see what the matzav is. With all these hatzlachah, I don't think anybody was as matzliach as he was. But he didn't do it. Didn't straighten out the world. Not all the Jewish people either. Look at all the assimilation in the world today. There's no group that can do it.
No?
No group that can do it. One person, certainly not a group. But I'm now going to enlist you. How many people sitting here would really want to do it? To straighten out the world? How many? Show me by hands if you really want to straighten out the world. You don't want to straighten out the world?
Myself.
No, I'm not capable. I'm not.
I didn't ask you if you're capable. I asked you if you would want.
It's not in my.
No, don't tell me this. I want to know if you could do it, would you want to do it?
I don't know.
All right, you don't know. Come. Would you want to do it? Mordechai, you want. You are supposed to what? You'd want to do it, right? You'd like to see a straight word. You'd like to prepare the stage for Mashiach, right? I'm going to give you a way to do it. It's not going to be easy, but you can do it. How do I know I can do it? Because I've spoken to professionals, and they say it can be done, and because it can be done, it must be done. Elio, you gotta listen to this. We can do it. And how? Listen to this. There was a Jew in France about 20 years ago who was very unhappy with the religious level of Israel in general. He was a wealthy Jew. He did very well in real estate. And he says, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to raise the level of Kedusha in Eretz Yisrael. What did he do? No. What did he do? He paid a lot of money to 11 radio stations that covered the country to say 3 words.
Oh,
3 words.
6 in the morning or 5, Shema Israel.
No, that's my Israel. No. That would be too much. The non-religious wouldn't go for that. He said 3 words. Tehillim b'shvil haneshama. You hear that? 3 words. Tehillim b'shvil haneshama. I remember it. My wife remembers it. It was about 20 years ago. And we heard on the radio every hour, every 2 hours, Tehillim b'shvil haneshama. And you heard it over and over and over and over again. And this country is populated in the most by what we call Masoreti Jews, traditional Jews. They keep the Seder, they'll go to shul once in a while, they keep Yom Kippur. 95% of the people fast here in Yom Kippur, whether they're religious or not religious. And you hear this on the radio all the time. Tehillim b'shvil haneshama. People in the parks were sitting, saying Tehillim. Waiting for the buses, saying Tehillim. Why? Because they were programmed. They heard this on the radio over and over and over again. Tehillim b'shvil haneshama. Very neutral, very parav. It doesn't offend anybody. It doesn't attack anybody. A suggestion. Tehillim b'shvil haneshama. After about 4 months, 5 months, he lost his money in real estate.
Lost what?
He lost his money in real estate. He couldn't keep up the payments to the radio stations, and they need money to function, and therefore it all stopped. It was a big bruch, because he was successful. All right? That happened 20 years ago.
Who was he?
He's a Jew who lives here today. His name is, he's a Hasidic Jew who lives here today, Yehoshua, I forget his last name. I met him a couple of times, very nice person, but he's not so wealthy anymore. Okay. After, listen to this, Rabbi said, listen to this is so important, and you all raised your hands. If you all raised your hands, I'm going to enlist you, and you can help. And I'll show you how. This is so important, I tell you, it's more important than the Kavanas of Shem Tov. This is mamish our existence. This is our existence. This is our future. Last year, Lag BaOmer, 45 neshamos were taken away from us. Where? In Meron. 45.
Koch. No.
Adam. People called me up, because I work in education. and they said to me, after that happened, had your books, your material, your educational material been in all the schools, that wouldn't have happened. People would have learned tolerance. You don't push, you don't jump ahead to get ahead of somebody else. What happened over there was one piling on top of another, and just people were suffocated, and they died. If people had learned their cheretz like they're supposed to, you walk slowly, you have patience, you don't push, a lot less people would have died. That's what they said. These are educators, people who are involved in education, in religious education. Okay. This is Meshamayim is a gzeira that had to die. What do we know about that? What can we do, however, on our side, the human side of it? Listen to this, Rabbi, say, it's vital, it's vital. It's so important. And we have here, I'm sure the Baal Shem Tov will give you 100%, go ahead and do it. And I'll tell you what you can do. There's no reason today that we cannot do what that Jew did 20 years ago. But the emphasis would not be on Tehillim B'Shvil Neshama. We can pay the radio stations, the TV stations, all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, we can pay them money and bombard all the minds of our nation with V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. We want to straighten out the world. Masha sonu l'cha, what's hateful to you, don't do to others. Why can't we hear that on the radio every 2 hours? Who's going to say anything? The radio program will go on, but every 2 hours you get a reminder. 6 days a week. Reminder. Masha sonu l'cha, what's hateful to you, don't do to others, don't harm other people. You hear that over and over and over again, not for a week, not for a month, for a year, for 2 years. It has to make an impact. It must make an impact. It will straighten out people. They say, we know, it has a good effect. It's true. Why don't we start to live that way? Why is everybody interested in what's in it for me? That's not the way a Jew is supposed to live. That can be done. I've spoken to people in marketing, in advertising. I've spoken to people in broadcasting. They told me it can be done, and if it can be done, it must be done. Go out, get me the money, and we'll do it. I have the whole infrastructure set up. I've spoken to people who have done campaigns. It can be done.
You don't have to pay social media. You could just post yourself and your friends.
And you want to get it. You have to spread it widely. It's not enough.
No, if everybody does it.
All right. So let's get
like a virus.
Let's get people to do it.
Let's go.
Let's get the people. Listen. Everybody got good ideas, but the speech is very cheap. Let's see you all do it. Do it. Raise money for it. Do it. Go out. You're all here. Said you want to do it. The main thing is to do it. It's very nice to say you want to do it, but you got to do it. I've been working on it almost the whole year. We have made some advances, but we don't have the money yet to pay the stations. But it doesn't have to be money, as you said. Get people to put it on their Facebook accounts, onto their Instagram accounts, whatever it is. Let's get it out there.
Arutz 13 doesn't help.
I don't know. You talked about it. Call them up. Get it on there. Call them up. This Arutz, that Arutz. Let's do it.
What do you mean get it on there? Is it like just Divrei Torah?
No, Divrei Torah. There's plenty of Torah today. That's not doing it.
So what is it though?
We need a slogan that's going to go over and over and over again. A simple one-liner. One-liner. Masha soni lecha al taseh lechavercha. What's hateful to you, don't do to others. Let's not use v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. It's too strong. People say it's a very nice. No, but we can't really live that way. But not to harm somebody else, that everybody can accept. Don't harm anybody. If you would be harmed by it, don't do it to anybody else.
Like that, Lashon Hara Lo Medaber Alai campaign.
I spoke to them also about it. He told me it's a fantastic idea. I spoke to people in broadcasters. They said it's a great idea. Do it. It's so simple. It's so simple. All it has to be just is enacted. It's got to be done. The Maisa. Speak to people. You don't give up. Don't give up. You want Mashiach to come. We have to help Eliyahu liyasher taretz. If we do that, we're on the way. Mashiach will come much faster.
Smile to your neighbor.
Of course, that's all part of it. But we got to get the message out to millions. How many neighbors do you have? You don't have millions of neighbors. You got to. The message has to go out to everybody. Speak to people. Don't stop speaking. Ask, speak, raise money. Everything you can do to advance this. This is what the Shem Tov would want. Chabad. What's the whole thing of Chabad? To bring Mashiach. Bring Mashiach. But he has to come to when the stage is set. Can't come stam to a world that's corrupt. You have to have already a proper preparation.
Didn't Rabbi say that the world is basically already set for Mashiach Lo?
He could have said it. Maybe. He said. I heard him say, I did what I can. No. He said, I did what I can.
Yeah, no, that's a different...
Now you got to go do the rest. That's what he said to the Hasidim. I did what I could, now you got to do the rest.
You have to polish the buttons.
Huh?
You have to polish the buttons.
It's so important, Rabbi Say. It's so important. It's so important. And let's not make it, just the Baal Shem Tov shir that we just spoke about it here. Let's take this out and commit ourselves to advance this lamaisa. Advance this lamaisa. Don't stop speaking, but we have to be miyasher et haaretz. We got to set the stage and get all the crookedness out. We're only going to do that by programming over and over. It's a simple educational principle. The left today runs the world.
Yeah.
Why do they run the world? Because they control the media. And they want money. We'll give them money. But you say what we want to say. We'll pay. Make our statement. You can do all your regular programming. I want to hear every hour. I want to hear that every hour. And I'll pay for it. They'll take it. Money, that's all they want is money.
That's the Jewish world. What about the 99.9%
That's
non-Jewish?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk would agree with it, but all right. But let's start with Eretz Yisrael first. Let's get it done in Eretz Yisrael, and then if it starts here, it'll spread all over. If we get it done successfully here, they will come here and bow to us and lick our fingers. How do you do it? Tell us what to do. We got to get it done here.
The North Koreans already do it. They come to Israel to learn
Torah.
I saw yesterday in Ben Yehuda a whole bunch of Koreans singing, that kind of stuff.
So, okay, we have a commitment. Everyone's going to do it. Lemaisa.
We want Eliyahu now.
We want Eliyahu now. That's good.
Okay.
We want Eliyahu now.
That's what we got to do. We got to set the stage. We got to do it. Not wait for anybody else to do it.
Setting the stage means, we're going to do it here, but do we have to do it also for the Goyim? I mean,
for ourselves, what the Goyim. For Eretz, let's look at Eretz Yisrael. Only in Eretz Yisrael. That's not worry about Chutz La'aretz now.
Yeah.
Eretz Yisrael. Just for Eretz Yisrael.
You're saying the rest will follow.
Mitzvah Shem. But Eretz Yisrael is a big project. Not so simple. It's a small country. It's a small country. But it can be done. It can be done.
We should get Walter beat.
All right, we're going to end up with that today, Rabbi Say. Till next week, Mitzvah Shem.